Welcome to the Camera Dude Podcast, where we focus our lens on business. We will cover the art of business and everything in between. Join your host, Rob Moorman, a seasoned photographer and RV park owner with over 27 years of experience, as he captures insights from industry experts and fellow entrepreneurs. From mastering customer service to igniting creativity, we explore the common threads that weave through successful businesses. Get ready to click, snap, and discover on the Camera Dude Podcast.
Welcome to the Camera Dude Podcast. I'm Rob Moorman, your camera dude and host. Join us today as we dive into all things business and life. Hey, gang, let's get started. So, Camera Dude listeners, as you know, we love you. You can connect with us on our Camera Dude Podcast Facebook page or cameradudepodcast.com. If you wish to email us, it's cameradude1@gmail.com. We'd love to hear from you. Today's guest is someone that has built an amazing business helping others. I know you're going to enjoy this, so let me read a piece from his LinkedIn profile. It says, as marketing and communications specialist with over 30 years of experience, I help socially conscious organizations build a trusted brand. It starts with clarity of purpose. It's your why. Then implementing an engagement strategy that gives employees, customers, and other stakeholders a cause to connect and contribute to. The end goal is to build a legacy brand that attracts the best talent, fosters healthy corporate culture brand, and loyalty, of course, and increases profitability, all while making the world a better place. So with that, please welcome Tim Salmonson. Right?
Thank you, Rob.
You're welcome. Tim, I'm glad you're here. It's a long time coming. And before we introduce yourself, goodness, I've known you a long time.
Yeah.
Now that I think about it. I don't remember the year, but we have something in common, and that was that we met at our church.
Yep.
And photography. So we have two things in common, and now a podcast together.
There you go.
Cool. Do me a favor, introduce yourself. Tell us about your family, maybe some education, accolades. I don't know. Wet our whistle about Tim Salmonson.
Sure. Well, I grew up in northern Michigan. I say the tip of the mitt because it's, you know, how you meet someone from Michigan and they hold their hand up. Yeah. And I'm up there at the very top of the Lower Peninsula. I went to school at Western Michigan University, and I got my degree in communications. Right out of school, I went into youth ministry. I don't know if you knew that.
No, I didn't. Very cool.
And it was here in Florida, but on the other coast. I was in Stewart for 5 years. The church kind of blew up in a good way, and then it blew up in a bad way. So I ended up heading home. This was kind of a difficult season for me because I'm in my late 20s. I'm going back to mom and dad's and joining their photography business. So, and I don't know if you know that my parents have had a photography studio for over 50 years.
That's awesome. Tell me when you're done, we'll talk a little bit about that. As you know, it's fascinating. You have shared that with me in the past. So.
Mm-hmm.
What do you have hobbies? What do you do when you're not working or helping others?
I like to, I'm a creative person and I'm an outdoors athletic kind of person. So I play the guitar.
Awesome. That's
one of my hidden, I wouldn't say talents, it's just something I really enjoy doing. I walk quite a bit. I like to get outside. That's the way I clear my head. And I play racket sports. I tried not to do anything too challenging for my knees. But yeah, in general, I like to work out and take care of my body. I think we share that in common as well. We're talking a little bit about what we eat and what our diets look like and taking care of, ourselves physically. So,
well, you're definitely fit. Anybody that knows you and can see you will know that, and so that's a good thing. I have gone through series in life where I was extremely healthy, juicing twice a day, exercising, and it would last 5-8 years, and then boom, there'd be another 4 years in between where I was pretty slack. And then it's back. And so, but as I get older, I realize the demands on my body that the studio of 30 years have taken. And so I need to work out. I need to exercise in order to keep doing what I love and be around those that I love. So
absolutely.
I appreciate your inspiration on our conversation before we started recording. That's a good thing. My wife and I like to kayak. So if you love that, let us know. We'll go kayaking.
Absolutely. No, I have a couple kayaks. So
Oh, perfect.
Yeah.
One of our favorite places is at Sunburst RV. It's right by the Blackwater River.
Okay.
And it's if you study the Blackwater River, the kayaking possibilities there are endless. It's huge, and it's only 5 miles from the campground. So you can either go to downtown Milton and put in, and come out and get one of the best pizzas you've ever had afterwards, right there at Boomerang Pizza. It's a wonderful place. And then
Shout out to Boomerang.
yeah, absolutely. I eat there a lot. It's funny because I don't eat pizza, but they have this big salad, and I love it. And so, but everybody I'm with always eats pizza and cheese, and I'm staying away from all these things. Awesome. Well, let's open some dialogue. Let's get into business.
Sure, sure.
So I always ask this, my guests and listeners know, what was your very first job?
I had a paper route when I was, I think about 10 or 11, and it was just in my neighborhood. I did it after school, and it was just a way to make a few bucks. And this was back when we had little tickets, little stubs that we would tear off when someone paid there or didn't pay, and I could see if I showed up at a house and there was a few stubs on their house, their address. I'm like, okay, these people, I need to ask them to pay the bill, and it was like, I think $1 or $1.50 a week for the paper. So,
but they weren't paying.
Yeah. And of course, I didn't see them all the time. I was just dropping the paper off. But
so you learned there a little bit about collections.
Yes, I did indeed.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was. Did you run into issues? I mean, what was your? So you had to do that, but what did you learn by having to deal with people? Some were nice, some weren't nice. Maybe I don't know. Tell us a little bit about that.
I'm definitely a people person. It never bothered me to knock on the door. I enjoyed having conversations. So, and I don't know, a little different in this way in that I don't mind, I want to say conflict or confrontation, as long as it's healthy, as long as you're doing it in a way that's respectful. And yeah, not, like I say, not that I enjoy it, but I don't have a problem with it. So knocking on the door and asking for money, I knew that it wasn't as much about me as the newspaper people were going to get after me because honestly, I've done so much in my life for free. I would have probably delivered the papers for free.
Yeah.
I wasn't motivated by the money. It gave me some, a reason to get out and get to know the neighbors and so,
purpose and all of that.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, it probably taught you organizational skills. You had to be on time, deliver it a certain way with, some sort of sense of decorum, and put the newspaper where they can find it.
Yes, exactly.
All of that. We had, when I was a kid, we had a newspaper kid that would throw it in our bushes every day. I'd have to climb in the bushes for my parents to get it. I was like, what is this kid doing?
Right.
So, all right. Well, I'm glad to hear that. Listen, brand strategy advisor. What is that?
So, brand strategy advisor, it comes out of my life of experience with nonprofit. My passion has been in ministry and in the nonprofit world most of my life. And my business now is a marriage between that and businesses, walking with businesses, working with them to think about and consider their noble purposes, their noble purpose. Like brands like Tom Shoes or Warby Parker, they do glasses. Patagonia, people will know that brand.
Right.
Hobby Lobby, Chick-fil-A, they have a social ethos and a strong set of values. And that's what we want to focus on. So I grew up, like I mentioned, I was a youth minister, and I've always been involved in ministry of some kind. Then I went into missions. I actually lived overseas for several years in several different countries, but mostly in the Dominican Republic. I worked for a big church out of Chicagoland called Willow Creek Community Church.
Wow.
Some people may know that name. At the time, it was CNN's most influential church in America. And
wow.
They're very leadership driven. And it's through Willow that actually brought me here to St. Petersburg, because I was working with volunteers there in the Dominican Republic, and they want to outsource that program through an agency here. And that's how I came to St. Petersburg, Florida. Well, that gig didn't work out. I was there maybe 6 or 7 months and started my own nonprofit. And I did that for about 10 years.
Oh, wow.
So been over 30, I think 36 countries, trying to make the world a better place with my band of do-gooders. And I had an epiphany after I actually went to grad school at Eastern University, and it was an international program with a lot of people who, when I talked about what I did, they're like, yeah, that short-term missions thing is probably doing more harm than good in a lot of ways. I mean, well-intentioned people who show up and they want to help out, but unfortunately they tend to be a little enthusiastic about perhaps bringing their faith or talking about Jesus in a way that like they didn't know that he was already there, type of thing.
Okay. So they felt a sense of authority there,
Yeah.
in a way, not intentionally. Their hearts were in the right place.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they're well intentioned, and so I began to sit with that a little bit, and what I felt like God was saying was that businesses had the human capital and the financial capital to really fill in these gaps in society, the social gaps. Like I mentioned, brands like Tom's Shoes that saw a need for kids, and specifically at the time, South America, who didn't have shoes, or Patagonia and the environmental kind of push that they're making. And so I made the shift about 13 years ago, to work with businesses to think about how they lead with values and what their noble purpose is, and instead of promoting themselves or their products or service, to think about what their contribution is to their community and being known more for that. So
it's kind of a conscious approach to the surrounding community of your business, how you help them and what you do, and put that first.
That's right.
Which I firmly believe comes full circle. And any business that you wish to do, it comes full circle because you're doing that. It's almost like a tithe in a way, but with time and effort and energy into a community.
Yeah.
I love that.
I think what happens sometimes is that businesses try to lead with some kind of philanthropy, and they'll give to multiple causes, or, for example, it's an example of a company that's trying to do good, but is what they call greenwashing. So Avon, for example, primarily their audience is women,
Right.
and they donate money towards cancer research. The problem is that their products are contributing to cancer.
Yeah.
And they're just trying to wash over the fact that, hey, just don't pay attention over here to, what our products are doing.
So the heart behind it, and maybe not this particular company, I don't want to hone out one corporation here, but in general, people are doing it for a branding purpose and for PR versus actually doing it from the heart.
Right.
And wanting to know.
Exactly.
I can understand that. And I see that a lot. And I see people falling for it. I shop here because, 10 cents goes to planting trees in the forest. Right. And that's great. But yet they're shipping everything in cardboard boxes and killing more trees than are being planted. That's a fake example, but it makes sense to me. So you want to give to actually provide, knowing what your business is what it is.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
I love that. So you help companies go in that direction.
Correct. Yeah. Lead with values. So
And let me ask you a question. It's not on the, pardon me for interrupting. It's not on the list, but how does that, and I think we just hit on it a little bit, how does that benefit that company? So if there's a company, they don't have bad hearts. They're just doing business every day, and every business has a final product, and in the process of making that product, there might be a waste that's harmful or whatever, and no one got out of bed and said, hey, we're going to pollute a river, or we're going to, it just was an aftermath of a great idea. And in order to make it come to fruition, these things happened. And so I don't think anybody's intent is like that, but take us there. And what does that benefit a company financially as well? Why would a CEO who's not aware of what you do or that outlook hear from you and go, okay, that's going to work. My numbers are going to be better because. So tell us a little bit about that.
Well, you take a company like Patagonia, it's a multi-billion-dollar company.
They have cool glasses, too.
They have cool glasses, great clothes, and they have, I don't know if you've seen their advertising, but they say things like, don't buy this jacket. Because what they've done is they will take previously purchased Patagonia clothes and they will repair them. And unless you don't have, if you don't have a jacket, then this may be the jacket for you, because it's the kind of piece of clothing that would last a lifetime. And that's what we want, because in the clothing industry, this what would you call fast fashion, I think is the term.
Okay.
And they run through clothes and people discard them almost as fast as they purchase them, which is causing a lot of problems for
environmental issues.
Exactly. So the feelings that people get from working with the brand, because you're not just trying to sell a product or service, you're trying to build a community. You want raving fans, and that's the idea. Now, we haven't talked about the book that I wrote, but
we will for sure.
It's called Brand Evangelism.
Let's do it now. Yeah, go ahead.
This is the idea behind it. You want your clients, your customers, your people to become a part of your community and become brand evangelists. They are the ones that are talking about the transformation that they've experienced as a result of working with you or buying your product. So,
and that gets them exciting. So because we're audio only, you can't see it. Tim, we're going to mention it twice. First of all, where can they see it?
You can purchase on Amazon, Brand Evangelism, Tim Salmonson.
Perfect. It says on here, a leader's guide to clarify and communicate personal and organizational purpose. And then I'm going to read some of the bullet points here. Clarify and communicate their noble purpose, reduce confusion and the costs associated with it, build trust, continuity, and community, attract and retain high-caliber contributors, increase productivity, engagement, and profitability, increase self-awareness and emotional intelligence. So let's talk about that a little bit. It's not, all of this is not in our notes, but
Sure.
I go on tangents all the time. You know me well.
Let's do it.
So let's do it. Tell us about your book, and first of all, what type of leader should have this in their hand?
It's geared for purpose-driven leaders. It has to get in the hands of someone who is values-driven. As you already mentioned, people may have good intentions or just may not be all that intentional at all with regard to the values that are associated with their organization, their company. You see this all the time. You see the mission statement, or you see a set of values, and they're really not ever tested. People don't follow after the mission statement or the values.
You don't even look at it most of the time.
Correct.
Yeah.
And values aren't values until they're tested. And you look at a company like Enron, they had the most beautiful values, integrity and all these. Well, Enron, as you know, and if you've been alive for the last 15 years, you know that Enron, big energy company, did terrible things and hid all their statements and ended up going bankrupt.
Right.
And a lot of people lost a lot of money and a lot of faith in big companies. So with what I'm doing, the framework of brand evangelism are 5 C's. The first is to clarify your noble purpose. The second is to be able to communicate that noble purpose. So there are four kinds of brands that people either fall into or they pursue. You have a consumer brand, which is everyone. Pretty much it's transactional. I give you something, you give me something in return. That's the general most companies.
More of like a food item, a grocery.
Anything, no, any transactional
service. Okay.
You could be a photographer and you say, yeah, I'll show up at this time, I'll take these pictures, and then before I leave, I want to check.
Right.
That's transactional. Nothing. The relationship is over as soon as you get the check in your hand and they get their pictures back.
Yes, but it shouldn't be.
It shouldn't be. Exactly. That's the point.
Yeah, I agree with you. And being a small business like ours, it's really hard for that follow-up.
Mm-hmm.
I would love, I'm going to put an idea in your head, I would love for you to create some sort of software that is one dashboard that encompasses, a continuous communication with clients.
Absolutely.
The problem is there are platforms that do it, but in order to do it right, you've got to onboard 4 or 5 platforms. Why can't it be in one place?
I have an answer for that.
All right.
It might be another podcast.
All right. I love that because it's important. Anyhow, well, brand evangelism, so you're talking about companies doing the right thing, not just for marketing, and creating a path forward where they're moving forward quickly, doing the right thing. It creates a vacuum, and in that vacuum is good quality business, good quality service, lots of clients, revenue goes up, employees are happier to work at a place that's doing the right thing, and who doesn't want to shop at somewhere that's doing the right thing?
Correct.
I love that.
Yeah.
All right. So how long, first of all, the book itself was an endeavor. How long did that take?
So I had a mentor. He's told me I needed to write a book, and I had the framework in place. So I had the subject matter for the book. It was probably 8 months of real intentional writing, and I wrote it. This was pre-AI.
Okay.
So I didn't have any help from AI to put it together.
You heard it right here on the Camera Dude podcast. You didn't cheat.
These are my words. Yep, every one of them.
I love it.
I did have a couple editors that helped me out.
That's normal.
Yeah, the end product though is essentially these 5 C's. So
yeah,
I didn't get through
give us the 5 C's.
Yeah, the clarify your purpose, be able to communicate that purpose. Communicate, make your contribution, which is building trust and rapport, connecting with your audience, the right people, attracting them based on your values. A lot of people think that their audience is anyone or everyone, and you don't build a solid brand with trying to market to anyone and everyone. You build a solid brand when you lead with your values. That's why Chick-fil-A has crazy followers, because they love the ethos of it. Of course, the product is good, and the product needs to be good. It can't be just a
service, and they follow through once you get there.
Yes, exactly. But people call it Jesus Chicken, and just because they don't open up on Sunday. So,
but I respect that.
Absolutely, and there are people who don't and get frustrated and don't like the values and won't shop at Chick-fil-A because of that. Well, that's great, because those are people you don't want to be associated with your brand.
Right.
You're trying to attract.
And they have their own brands that they're associated with.
Correct.
Whatever it might be.
Right.
So I see what you mean. So you're building a tribe.
You're building a tribe. That's the whole point.
Okay.
Exactly.
And I will say that the Chick-fil-A drive-through here on 4th Street, a good friend of mine owns it.
Okay.
You can't get in there.
Right.
The drive-through is all the way around the building twice, and people inside, it's packed.
Yeah.
And the other one in the Tyrone area, same.
Right. Yeah.
And so obviously they're doing something.
Raving fans. And that's the last C, is the call to action. Once you've drawn or attracted a group of people that believe in what you're doing and the transformation that you're providing, you call them, you invite them, you ask them, I need you to go and share the good news about what we're doing here and the impact that we're making and the difference that we're making in the world. That's the
So they're really an evangelist
their
for
evangelist.
their company.
That's it, exactly.
And so you're taking your knowledge as a missionary
Yep.
of spreading the gospel, which is equally, actually higher of importance in my book.
Of course.
And yet you're approaching it. I just saw this just now. And so you're approaching it with that same idea where it's, one tells another and another and another, which is exactly what we were told to do in the Bible.
It sure helps with the advertising costs when you're having all your people doing your advertising for you.
That's it. We can close off the podcast. I say that a lot, but that helps your advertising costs.
Yeah.
So if you get people speaking for you and the word of mouth gets started, which let's touch on that. Studies show that even today in a digital era, word of mouth is still number one form of business building, marketing, and all that.
Absolutely.
You find that true? Okay.
Yes, absolutely.
I would think so. I mean, I use my social media pages to connect with people after we've met.
Mm-hmm.
I want to shake their hand, look into their eyes, do business with them, and then I seek them on my social media page. Just in brief, I'll go to a networking meeting, have 5 really good conversations. I usually write on the back of their business card or on a tablet that I have all the things about what they told me. As soon as they walk away, maybe they have a child that's sick or they're building a business or whatever. And I'll follow up with an email and say, hey, it was great to meet with you, praying for your kid. How can I help you grow your business? And all of that. And then I find them on social media. So now I'm naturally, continually in front of them.
Right.
But to get work directly from social media, I'm sure I'm going to get some emails, but I don't get a ton. Right. It's about handshaking and getting to know people.
Absolutely.
Okay. I want to make sure those right. So you've talked about this a little bit, but for a company that brings you on board and decides to take this transformation journey, what does that look like? How long does it really take? Some people are going to be practical and think logistics. We're hiring this guy. It's costing this much. How long does it take? How long are we going to be focused on that until it becomes the norm in our business and what have you? Tell us about that inside of a company.
Sure. Well, it's funny. This morning, I had a previous client reach out to me recently, and he, at the time, this is a gentleman, I was doing some work for another organization, working out of one of the downtown workspaces, co-working spaces, and we were going down the elevator together. And in my normal, typical, friendly way, I struck up a conversation with Bill, and come to find out he exited his first company at $100 million in his early 20s.
Wow.
So he's a very successful, he's in his 60s now.
Okay.
Businessman. And we stood in the corner downstairs outside the building probably for 25 minutes, and I told him about what I was doing, about my book, gave him my book, and he said, that noble purpose thing is probably for my children. I don't know if that's for me.
Interesting.
This is what he told me at the time when I first met him. And just a couple of weeks back, he reached out to me and says, Tim, I think I found my noble purpose.
Wow. I love it. All right.
He said, I need to have a conversation with you. It had me in, and we sat in his office, and he was sharing with me how he wants to serve nonprofits. So I put together 3 proposals for him, and depending on the scope of work or what we're talking about, all of this, I mean, you can walk through the book, and it's designed to be, like at the end of every chapter, there's a summary of the chapter. So if you didn't really want to read the whole thing, you could get the
You're feeding my ADHD right now. Anyhow, carry on.
Yes. And then there are some questions that are related to the content, and then there's some action steps. So it's kind of meant to be as much a workbook as inside about my story and then this framework. And it's really not filled with just my brilliance. It's all supported by the people who've inspired me and different anecdotes that they've created or they've offered. And that it's the kind of book that I like, that I feel like I can get a lot out of. So in the case of Bill, he's trying to figure out how to implement noble purpose, and he's got this, it's a big company. I mean, he does have quite a few people working for him. It's a tech company.
Okay.
And I need to figure out how serious he wants to move forward with getting clear about his noble purpose and leading with his noble purpose. So there's the introductory kind of, okay, let's get your brand Bible, that's what we call it, together, that talks about the messaging, and we'll call it the aesthetic of your brand. How do you want people to feel when they go to your website? You can associate it with like ice cream or music. Right. Like, what kind of music are you playing in the world? Is it classical? Is it country? Is it heavy metal? Is it Christian? What is and if it's any of those, there are different genres of either of those.
I'd say heavy metal Christian. I'm just saying.
For you, yeah.
No, I like all music, actually. Go ahead.
So we start with kind of, that's the simple entry. And then if you want some implementation, you want to talk about, okay, how do we take this messaging and make it a little more personal to the founder? Because it's easy to figure out the messaging, what your values are, your mission, your vision. And these are all things that help guide your decision-making process. Once you have that, then you move towards implementing and doing campaigns and strategies that are going to attract the kind of people that you want to attract. In his case, nonprofits. And he speaks a digital language, a data language, and a money language.
Right.
He doesn't speak love language. That's me.
Okay.
So if you bring me into your organization or your company, I'm going to be the heart.
I love that. I absolutely love that. I'm going to read a quote from your book from someone else, but you thought to put it in.
Okay.
I didn't pick it intentionally, but I find it fitting. It was Thomas Stark.
Mm-hmm.
And so it says, it's time to stop being spectators, do things, join things, make things happen, make a contribution, make a difference, get out there. Don't keep calm and carry on. Get angry and change this benighted world. Is there anything else than the masses who wait for others to do things? I like that. So that's the energy that you're kind of, I'm sure you chose this because that's the energy that you're bringing to a company.
Yeah,
and
right.
so it sounds, let's talk about this then, because you and I have talked about this off the recording at some point. You work with mid to large companies, but you also have a way for small micro company like mine to get educated by you. Let's talk about that. So you're holding courses and classes and all of that. If you have specific dates, share. If
Sure.
not, they can find you online when it's time. But yeah.
Well, I'm leading a group of 30 students this summer, and it's sort of a pilot project. And what I want to do, and I'd like people to reach out to me, and I will send them. So info@socialessent.com, social SOCIAL,
Okay.
and ECENT. That's kind of an abbreviation of Social Economic Enterprises.
Perfect.
If they would be interested, I'm trying to find the best content in regards to, do people want to get clarity on what they want their brand messaging to be, and prepare for launching something in their company. That's the direction that I'm leaning. And what kind of time commitment that they'd be willing to make, and what kind of financial commitment that they would be willing to make. And once again, I have some ideas around that, but I would love to get people on a waiting list and then get feedback from people who, like you say, are maybe starting out a company, or they haven't even started. They just have an idea about starting a business, and they know that they need a good foundation for that business with what their noble purpose is, what's their why.
And I wish I had all of that when I started 30 years ago. So that's incredible.
Moorman Photographics, where every click captures the essence of life's most precious moments. Our studio stands as a beacon of creativity and professionalism, offering a myriad of services tailored to your every photographic need. Whether you seek a studio portrait or the allure of on-location sessions in the Tampa and St. Petersburg waterfronts or lush parks, we bring your vision to life with creativity and professionalism. Corporate headshots, we excel at those too, providing impeccable quality whether in the studio or at your corporate headquarters. Need portraits for a large team or event? We orchestrate seamless setups for groups or individuals. But our expertise doesn't stop there. From high-end school portraits to photo restoration, from pet portraits to product images, our portfolio spans the spectrum of photographic artistry. Led by professionals with degrees in both photography and fine art, our team is dedicated to exceeding your expectations with every frame. Step into our studio, where creativity knows no bounds. Contact us to book your session today at moormanphoto.com.
You said that you hold classes. So let's say there's a micro business, because America's made up of small businesses, 30 employees all the way down to one. And that's the majority of business in America. How can they reach you? You're holding a course where you don't come into the company, they kind of come to you and sit through a class or whatever. What's that class look like, and how long, and all of that?
Well, right now, this is a 6-week class, the one that I'm teaching, and it goes through the five C's of the book. So you want to get clarity, you want to be able to communicate what that message is, you want to connect, you want to know who your audience is. So who your audience, what your contribution is, and then how it is that you're going to invite people to be a part of your brand. Those are the areas that we talk about. And the contribution, part of that is going to be frameworks. This morning in my devotions, I was thinking about so much of life is about frameworks. God designed frameworks right from the beginning when He created us, and He put us over in authority over all the animals and told us to be good stewards of this planet. There are frameworks in place that if we are good stewards, there's going to be good fruit that comes out of those. But the frameworks need to be solid to start with. And I think whether it's just even having conversations, I just recently joined Toastmasters.
Oh, yeah.
And so I'm studying a lot about, or learning a lot about, how to do more public speaking or be a better communicator. And so it's on my mind a lot in regards to not rambling, but trying to think in terms of framework. So the way that we communicate and the way that we run our business or our families, if you have guidelines and clear expectations that are set up from the beginning, it's amazing how much smoother things run than if you just kind of willy-nilly are indecisive or unclear about.
There's no direction.
That's right. That's right.
I can say that because I can ramble. And I'm not bad at public speaking. I don't have Toastmaster training. I've just had to do it a lot.
Sure.
And so you learn over time that people need to focus. Their attention span isn't that long, and they really don't want to hear every single detail. That's the, downfall of that. Well, and then larger companies, you physically go to them maybe and speak at their business, and you do that on a regular through a series?
Well, in the case of Bill, we will probably sit down with his key staff, talk about. Right now, I'm in the age. I'm learning a lot about AI, and if you're not familiar with master prompts, this is another thing. Maybe another conversation. Essentially, a master prompt is what you give AI to help it understand the framework in which you're wanting the responses to come from AI.
Makes sense. Yeah.
So your value system, your thought process, it gives AI the value system or a lens in which you look at things.
Gives it direction.
It gives it direction, yeah. Instead of pulling from the entire universe and everything, you're basically helping it to understand who you are and you do this for your company.
Right.
You create a master prompt of what's our company values, what's our mission, our vision, what's our purpose, who is it we serve, what problem that we solve, why is that important? Now all of a sudden it's able to make much better decisions in the output that it's giving you. And this is a big part of now what I'm doing with companies is we need to have your master prompt in place. So I might come in and just thinking about this with Bill, and I've not done this before. Typically it would be a survey, and people would fill out a survey and say, oh yeah, this is what I believe about this. And then you bring it all together and you start comparing, okay, you got these values and you think it's these values. But now you can take what people think and drop it into AI, and it will process all that information. So
I love that.
If you have a company, I highly recommend all you need to do is ask AI to help create a master prompt. You don't need to start with it. You just say, I want to create a master prompt for myself personally, a master prompt for my company, a master prompt for my family, for my relationships. And it will walk you through and ask you the kind of questions that will create this amazing document that you just drop in before you ask AI a question about business advice, for example.
I know exactly what I'll be doing later today, creating a master prompt. Moorman Photographics, I went to vocational school, fell in love with the camera. Most photographers enter the industry through the back door. They're so passionate about the photography itself, and they don't understand business and tax ID number and licensing and insurance and liability and all the things obviously we have nowadays as a studio, but I didn't know any of that.
Of course.
And my only master prompt, if you will, was to be like my mentor's studio. But he did those things. So he was a full-service studio. That's what we are, a little self-plug, Moorman Photo. And so we can provide simple things like image restoration and photography classes, but we also photograph graduations, conventions with 18,000 people at them that we cover, as well as a family portrait or a product, right? So that was the business framework itself. And then the master prompt was to have enough revenue to be able to help 4 or 5 charities with what we do every day. Show up to a gala for a fundraiser, New Life Solutions, we photograph their galas now. I don't charge them. Right. And that money that would be going to a photographer can go to their cause. And so that's our give back, if you will. It's kind of a tithe. But I also overdid it at one point. And I remember having a Thursday evening, Friday evening, Saturday, and a Sunday booked. And I looked back at those 4 days exhausted, and I realized that I didn't make a dime.
Right.
So it was also too much. So we've chosen 4 charities that we work with a lot.
Right.
And if they call, it's a yes. And if I'm not available, I actually hire another photographer out of pocket and send them. So we wanted to also be involved in this community so much so that it's a family name. And it wasn't just for business. It was to give back and to be a part of the city I grew up in, St. Petersburg, Florida.
Sure.
And it made it easier because I was born here. So I started with a pretty big tribe of people that watched me go through photo school and all of that.
Sure.
Anyhow, that's about the extent of it. So I need more. I see you're smiling. He's going, yeah, that's only touching the top, Rob. Right. And here I am 30 years in, right? But that's kind of where we're at. Mm-hmm. So I need some 5 C's, and I definitely need a better master prompt set up for my little business. I love that. All right, let's pick up another thing here. It says on your LinkedIn profile, increase your reach, results, and revenues with clarity of purpose. We've talked about that, but touch on it a little bit more. It says when you serve more, you earn more. Tell us about that. Go into that in whether it's a godly perspective, a business perspective, or both.
Sure. People do business with those they know, like, and trust. We've heard this over and over again. Well, one of the ways that we can build trust is by having a strong sense of values and a noble purpose. So leading with noble purpose, one, helps not only guide you in your decision-making, like you were just talking about, your contribution, your give back to the community is going to be always saying yes to a certain number of nonprofits because this is a way for you to serve. And not only a way for you to serve, but it's demonstrating that it's not always about the money.
Yeah.
And I think that
And it's not.
it's not. Of course, it's not. Money comes as a result of us creating value in the world.
Agreed.
So if we can solve large problems, like in your case, you've committed or you've decided we're going to serve these nonprofits because they have a story to be told. And there are a lot of people here that want something that just came to mind. We never really defined a brand, and a brand
Please.
is a name with a story attached to it, and a great brand is a name with a story that people want to be a part of.
Love that.
So when you go to Ronald McDonald House, for example, and they have all their big donors there who want to have their name associated with that name, they have decided that this brand is one that they want to be connected to. And that's where your skill or your area of expertise is helping to memorialize the people that are connected to the brand. And now the brand is able to leverage that and those relationships and the community that they've built. And some of those people they may have their own brand that other people want to be associated with or connected to.
I will confession here as we sit at the podcast confessional table. And when I first started, even though my mentor was doing it, I didn't know his internal purposes for doing it all. I do now. I did it to get out there and to be seen. You know, these big charities and the who's who is there and people are donating, and a silent auction. I'd have an item in the auction. My name is up on lights at the big screen and this and that. But as I matured, even though I'll ask for those things, if they're going to give them to us, I'll take the recognition for my brand. But at the same token, I've matured. It's not about that anymore. It's actually about serving that particular nonprofit that we have. Just one that's near and dear to me, it's for senior citizens. It's the Kids and Cubs Softball Club. And that club is in its 95th year in St. Pete. It provides community, exercise, activity, and financial charity to other charities, even though they're a nonprofit, every year. And I just realized I've been with them 21 years, and I haven't charged a dime, and I don't want to.
Sure.
And they're some of the greatest people. So not everything has to do with my faith. Some things are just community-oriented. Others are faith. And so Kids and Cubs, Ronald McDonald House are two of the four that are very big to me. We love working with them quite a bit.
Absolutely.
So, all right, let's switch gears. Unless you have something else, what do you have? Anything on that topic?
Well, I just close the comment on the financial returns are a byproduct of how well we serve people. And we can't ever serve people if they don't know us and trust us. So building that trust and leading with values, because people, that's another thing that helps to build the trust, is when they know what we stand for. Right. And there's a continuity or congruency between who we are, what we say we do, and the values that we purport. I mean, you know this as in Christendom, the biggest reason people do not become Christians and have no interest in the church is because of Christians.
Right.
People who say that they believe in Jesus and follow after him and the ways that he taught and the things that he taught and his example, but they don't live that way. That's why people are not interested.
Yeah, hypocrites.
Exactly.
Right.
And we can be hypocritical in our business I know that we both experienced working with people who led with their values, who said, oh, you can trust me. And after some time doing work with them, we realized they're not trustworthy.
Right.
And so they've just damaged their brand and the relationship. And ultimately, this is what it's all about. It's about relationships. It's a relationship that we have with ourselves. So understanding who we are, how God uniquely designed us and created us, what our contribution is to the world, our relationship to those in our inner circle, those are our employees, our key stakeholders, and that's kind of a,
Right.
the people who are important to us running our business. And then there are the people who don't yet know us that we're trying to connect with and build relationship with. And the one thing that needs to be consistent is the values, being the people that we say that we are and projecting that out into the world.
I love that. All right, now we're done. Everybody go home. No, not yet. It's there's so much here. We could probably do a 4-hour podcast.
Sure.
Maybe we'll make it a point to do another one.
Absolutely.
So, but for sake of time, we'll move on. And let's talk about, not only do you help businesses, you run one, your own. So any new entrepreneur that's out there, what are you doing right now? Something different or unique that not everybody is doing. If you have that, what are you doing to gain new clients?
The best, I'd say 2 ways to grow your business is going to be making sure you're consistent in content creation.
Okay.
That there's no better time. There's never been a better time in the history of mankind to be able to reach the masses without not having to be a millionaire and put Super Bowl ads out or billboards, but you can build your audience simply by talking about your passion and your contribution and the value that you're creating in the world. That's the first and probably most important, having consistency in doing that.
So it's not actually selling. It's just talking about what you love and what you do and how you do it and showing people behind the scenes of your passion, whatever.
And who you do it for and the transformation that you're offering, you're providing the people that you serve.
Which is kind of selling because you're solving a problem.
That's right.
Right. And I get that.
Yeah, people don't care. They don't care about what you do. They care about what you do for them.
Right.
All they're really focused in on is how or will this person help me in some aspirational endeavor or overcome some pain point or problem that I'm experiencing right now. Those are the 2 areas that we
how is this going to help me? And
exactly.
If it's not, and I get that. If it's not, I don't have time for it. Why would I?
Exactly.
Unless it piques my interest.
Yeah, or if they don't align with, so someone might touch me in regards to helping me achieve an aspirational desire or overcoming a pain point. But if I don't like them, if I don't like their language or I don't like their vibe, we talked about, your brand, your story, that
Right.
What are you associated with? Well, if you're hot pepper jalapeno flavored ice cream, I'm probably not gonna enjoy that. If you're Rocky Road, okay, now we're on the same wavelength.
Yep.
I like a little chunk. I like the chocolate.
Yeah. Okay.
So
Making me hungry.
yeah, sorry. So there's that element, and then partnership. Partnership is the other way that you can build your business. Is find your audience in somebody who is speaking to that audience.
Okay.
So if I were in the photography business, which I was for years, and you had a big following and a lot of people that were fanatical about what you did, if I could find something that wasn't in competition with what you do and have access to your audience, and of course share in any kind of profits or proceeds that would come from you lending your audience to me, then that's how partnerships are developed.
So is this a new business being born? What's your idea? Let's talk. Been around a long time. Something fresh is good.
Yeah, sure.
So I find also being a small business, I started obviously working for people I knew. As I was a photographer in school, every time I was at church, I would take my camera. I was part of a Christian music group called Joyful Noise.
Okay.
And I was their sound man.
Okay.
And a big 24, and back then mixers were huge. I lugged that thing all over the city. We played everywhere. They were a phenomenal band. And one song, I would get up and play tambourine with them. Ooh, that was my big, musical interlude. Yeah, there. But it was fun. And but I was photographed. And all of a sudden, somebody in the band referred me for a wedding. And then somebody else referred me, somebody in the church. And so it started with everybody I was working for I knew or knew somebody that I knew. And over the years, it grew to somehow they're all interconnected, but now I don't know because it's so far removed.
Sure.
One referral from another to another to another.
Everyone is 6 degrees of separation.
Yes, that's exactly it.
From Kevin Bacon.
Yes, I love that. All right. So I'm almost out of questions for you in a sense. And we've kind of talked about this a little bit, but I think this was off the mic. And you've had a different approach. I'm always involved in industry associations. And so I've been part of PPA.com, Professional Photographers of America, and all the associations, the state and the local guilds and all of that. And it has enhanced my ability to be a professional. So I went to school, got a vocational degree, blah, blah. But the truth is, when I got out and interned with my with a master photographer, Bruce Evanson, who's on this podcast, just a few back. If anybody's listening, go check that out. He, I didn't know anything when I got out. My first day interning with him, I realized he's forgotten more than I learned in the whole 2 years of schooling. And then I had a 1-year internship ahead with him, and it was absolutely amazing. The day one, I was very humbled. He wasn't mean. I was just humbled by watching him. And I know nothing. So
Right.
Little accolades you get in school. When you get out, you start at rock bottom and have to prove that trust again.
Yeah.
You had to do it in school, and your instructor's patting you on the back, and you're doing good, and you get out with a big head, and that deflated pretty quickly.
Sure.
I can say that. So in business, what are you associated with? How are you reaching out to community? Tell me what you do.
It's just back to what I was talking about with how do you grow your business if you are trying to, whether you're like with Bill, trying to reach nonprofits, and his demographic are those that have a marketing budget of $500,000 or more. And he knows exactly, he's in data analysis, that's his business. So he knows exactly who those nonprofits are. Making sure that you are, once again, leading with values and talking from a place of authority, so you can solve people's problems and you have a proven track record, and empathy, that you understand their problems and their challenges and their aspirations. That's your marketing. That's the way that you kind of lead with and it's always going to be the pain points that are more influential. They're going to tug at people's hearts more than the aspiration. So it's easier to talk about why you need a watch if you're always late and it's causing problems in all your relationships, to selling any kind of watch than it is upgrading to a Rolex, which is more of a status symbol.
Yeah.
In the case of getting your message out there and finding the right partnerships, I think what you're talking about is these associations kind of become partners.
Yes, very much so.
They give you access to other people in your industry, to
Knowledge,
their ideas, right? Best practices. Those are all really important. And I would say, in my world, I don't think that letters after your name mean anything.
right?
I think it's the transformation, the proof of your ability to be able to create value for people, to help them once again, either
I'm going to go change my email signature because there's letters after my name. Thanks a lot.
well, that's fine. I don't think
No.
it puts anybody off. I think you look at a guy like Tony Robbins,
Right.
who I don't even know if he finished high school,
Right.
but he is obviously one of the most famous coaches.
Right. Life coach, business coach.
Exactly. And now multi-billionaire. I think he owns 100 different companies and
Yeah.
is leaving a legacy, whether you like him or not, I mean,
I actually like him.
Yeah.
I do. He just needs to stop cussing.
Yeah,
all the time.
exactly.
But I do like him.
I feel the same
Early
way.
on, I bought his cassette tapes, if that tells you how long ago it was.
Yes.
And they were inspirational for me, changing my career. I got out of the motion picture industry because I wasn't going very far, and became a professional photographer, schooling and marriage, and I bought a home, and all of that was based on, I mean, God is 100% at the top of that first, but it was based on the inspiration and knowledge that he gave to change your brain, if you will, and go do the things you need to do. And at a young age, that was integral for me.
Yeah.
So interesting.
Yeah. So I don't think there are people who feel like they're not smart enough because they haven't gone through they don't have the education. It's not true at all. All people care about, like I have a friend and he feels he needs to get certified as a nutritionist or nutrition coach. And I said, Joe, you start changing people's lives by helping them with their nutrition choices or
Inspiration, motivation,
Yeah.
staying on track, and all that. Yeah.
exactly. You're not going to have to worry about whether they're not going to look at your certification and where you got certified and whether you have letters after your name.
Has he started this business? Is it running?
No, because he is
Worried
just
about that.
yeah, he's just going through the schooling. And I'm like, start today. Get on YouTube, start a YouTube channel, and talk about how your nutrition, his own health journey. And that's where most of it comes from, right? All of our, whether we want to become a coach or
First-hand experience.
exactly, you have two transformation stories, and this is what I always tell my clients. Tell your transformations, lead with your transformation story. Why you're doing what you're doing and how you got to where you are through the choices that you made. And that's going to help set up empathy and authority. And then the second transformation story is how you help other people where they are and where they want to be, getting them to where they want to be. And, my transformation story personally is the story of, hey, I love people and was in nonprofit world and ministry world, and then realized that the business world, the free marketplace, has done more to bring people out of poverty and to transform communities and to help bring economic stability to the world that nothing else ever has. Why don't I invest myself into helping businesses do a better job of that, serving other people well, leading with noble purpose, and impacting the world for
I absolutely love that you said that, because today there's a lot of negative towards corporations and businesses. And I'm sorry, but the business world does a lot of work in the community and helps lift people's lives. They may not be a millionaire working for someone, but they're working.
Yeah.
And they provide that way, but they also give back to a community. I love that. Well, that's a whole nother podcast. We could
Sure.
go on for 6 hours. We are running out of time, so I'm going to move into time goes fast.
Yeah.
Can you believe we've been sitting here now for an hour? And
Crazy.
yeah, it goes pretty quick. All right, so this is the fun part, kind of rapid fire, if you will. Questions. James Lipton on the Inside the Actors Studio, which is no longer aired. You can find it on YouTube. He was an acting coach and produced several famous people and was famous himself. And these questions I found out later weren't his. I was giving him credit, but there's a gentleman named Bernard Pivot, Pivots, and James Lipton borrowed those. And so I want to give credit due just so that people can hear it. So let's get started. What is your favorite word?
transformation.
Oh, beautiful. I love that. That's very fitting. What is your least favorite word?
It's got to be around anything victim-minded.
Yes.
So maybe victim.
So if someone is actually a victim or they just are always playing the victim, it could be both. That makes sense. That's twofold.
Yeah.
All right. I like that. That's very good. What turns you on in life?
Jesus.
All right. I'll buy that 100%. What turns you off in life?
Victim.
I love that. What sound or noise do you love?
I love the sound of the guitar.
Perfect. So, by the way, I play drums and I have a cajon. So maybe sometime we'll get together and just for fun, make a little music.
Sure.
So, all right. What sound or noise do you dislike?
It's funny. This is going... Okay, I'll tell you.
All right.
Chewing out loud.
Oh, no. I've had that on here before.
Okay.
It makes me crazy as well.
Okay,
So
yeah.
I have a sensory integration, and so when I hear all
me
this,
too.
yeah, I'm like, stop, and I don't want to hear that. It's gross. All right, this is interesting. What profession other than your own would you like to attempt?
Well, we talked briefly. I told you that I have a heart for community building, and I know that you own a trailer park.
Yes.
And so I have it in me to maybe be a trailer park owner.
Okay. All right. Let's talk. Turn off the radio right now. And no, it's neat, and good terminology would be RV park, mobile home park, just because of how people associate the word
Sure.
trailer park to get it to grow. It's a wonderful community. It can be beautiful and rough at the same time. And running one, you have to be thick-skinned, but you have to be sweet. You have that.
Okay.
So that's a good thing. All right. What profession would you not like to do?
Factory, anything that doesn't offer any creative outlet.
So some repetitive situation.
Exactly.
I always look at creatives, we live to work,
Mm-hmm.
and some people work to live.
Right.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I work too much, actually. So, Tim, I hate to close because it's a great conversation. Promise me you'll be back.
Sure.
All
I
right.
love this.
Maybe
It's
book
been
number
fun.
2, maybe?
Sure.
Yeah, all
Let's
right.
do it.
Good. I love that. All right. So tell everyone, I know we've mentioned already, but how many ways can they find you? Where can they find you? And don't forget to mention brand evangelism and where they can get it. So how
Sure.
can they reach you?
Yeah, I'm on all the social media platforms. I can't say that I'm as consistent as I would like to be. I have a YouTube channel that's in my moniker. My hashtag is Socialecent. It's SOCIALECENT. That's Social Economic Enterprises, all smashed into one word. So you can find me on YouTube, Instagram, on Facebook, LinkedIn. LinkedIn is probably my favorite platform. It's where I would find the people that I serve the most. And that's just Tim Salmonson at LinkedIn. And the book is on Amazon. Yeah.
Excellent. So, and the book it starts off on the cover here, Attract, Inspire, and Engage Your Audience, Brand Evangelism, a leader's guide to clarify and communicate personal and organizational purpose, of course, by Tim Salmonson. So that's good. And he's got a portrait on the back, professionally done. I like that. Well done, my friend. That's incredible. Before I close, anything, a little nugget, what do you want to give my listeners? Give them a little nugget, anything. I'm putting you on the spot now, I know.
Well, like I said, the best way to build your business, increase your profits, is making sure that you're creating value in the world, that you're focused in on what I always say, that the biggest problem, or the bigger the problem that you're helping to solve, the more you're going to be compensated for that problem. And get out of competing with other people who are solving small problems, and start looking to solve larger problems. That's going to be the first way that you can scale your business. The second thing that you should focus on, or you could focus in on, is the partnership aspect. So make sure that you are aligning yourself and finding people that will complement what you do so you can share audiences like this podcast. People who never heard of Tim Salmonson now will have heard of me because your audience is
awesome,
tuning in, and I appreciate that. So I would say find people who share your values, connect with them, and try to solve bigger problems in the world that might be the end of your financial struggles.
Perfect. Thank you. I love that. Well, guys, as you know, you can find us. I mentioned it already, cameradudepodcast.com. You can find Camera Dude Podcast on Facebook. Like and join us so you can keep in touch with what's coming up next, and give us a follow. Don't forget to follow Tim, especially on LinkedIn, Tim Salmonson, Salmonson. Okay? So, guys, thank you for hanging out with us on the Camera Dude Podcast. Remember always, reach out to those that have paved the way ahead of you for success. They are a great resource. Until the next one, stay safe, be peaceful, and always look up for directions in life. Catch you on the next Camera Dude Podcast.
Thanks for tuning in to the Camera Dude Podcast. Don't forget to visit us at cameradudepodcast.com for more episodes and exclusive content. Connect with Rob Moorman on moormanphoto.com to explore his professional photography. And when you're ready to hit the road, make memories at sunburstrvresort.com. Until next time, keep capturing moments and chasing dreams. See you on the next episode of the Camera Dude Podcast.